Want a cookie? Oh, I know you just ate, so you're craving something a little sweet. Besides, one cookie isn't gonna kill you. How about half? Just a bite? Bite it. Bite it. Bite it.
Food noise isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. Your affordable GLP-1 source that puts you on a path to successful weight loss by quieting food noise.
Bite it.
Shh. Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome everybody to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by the hockeythinktank.com, a website for all players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little bit of inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. What an episode we have for you guys here today. We are bringing on Duante Abercrombie, who's had an unbelievable journey in this game. He grew up in the D.C. area, played his hockey all the way growing up through there, actually got to play a little bit of pro hockey, and then has been a staple for the Washington Little Caps in that area right there. And with all of the great work that he did, he has coached at the college level, Division III, and he's also been a coach in the professional level as well, coached with the Toronto Maple Leafs and their farm system as well. And so just a wealth of knowledge. Duante is an awesome, awesome hockey guy, and we got some unbelievable conversation pieces in this podcast that we did with Duante. So really looking forward to getting over to him. But before we do, let's bring on the GMBM talent of the podcast, Jeffrey J. Hulavecchio. Vex, what's going on today, man?
Man, it's Christmas for me right now. So first week back in the gym. Voice is probably a little raspy on this one because I started screaming about 400% more yesterday and today. But also, you know, we're recording this, filming this for our community members on Tuesday night. And today I had Chris Weidman, one of my pro guys, who's currently with the Montreal Canadiens. He's missed the whole season with an injury, but he was home this week, back home from Montreal, visiting his wife who just had a baby. And he came in. I asked, hey, Whites, I got a new group. I have a bunch of new kids that are in the gym this year. Would you mind stopping by and talking to them a bit about your career and answer questions? He was like, yep, no problem. What time you want me there? And it's just like, so but just, it's everything we talk about. Like, not a lot of NHL, not a lot of guys in the highest levels of sport are going to do that. And he just came right over, talked to the kids for about 20 to 25 minutes, answered some questions. Just really, really cool. And a cool moment for me to see guys from St. Louis giving back to the community. So that made my day, that made my week. And getting in the gym with my first group back here with the off-season training, is starting to get hot here, makes me a very happy man.
Vex is in his element.
Yeah, baby.
We're gonna see a horse-voiced Vex probably
very soon. Very soon here.
Yeah, man, Christmas time, and it's good. And I'm gonna see you actually in a couple weeks. We just saw you in St. Louis. Going to see you in a couple weeks. Working the Vanguard camp with Jeff Lobman, former podcast guest. So going to see you doing your thing in the flesh.
Let's go, baby. Yeah, you're. What days are you going to the camp?
I think I'm Sunday through Tuesday.
So the beginning of camp?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, okay. I think so.
Yeah, awesome. That's awesome. Cannot wait to see you.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I put something out on Twitter today that got quite the reaction. And I want to talk about it really quick. So a buddy of mine calls me yesterday and he's like, I just got to vent to you, but this is nuts. So he is a part of one youth hockey organization. I'm not going to say names or teams or areas or anything like that, just because whatever.
Yeah.
But like, he's like, tryout time is coming up. So tryouts literally start today, which is a whole different conversation. Ridiculous. But he's like, yeah, man, like people from a different organization that they're competing with are telling kids that are like leaving that organization to go to theirs, that if they leave, then they're not going to make the USA Hockey Development Camp in the summer.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Bro, what?
Yeah. Like if you leave, you're not gonna make the camp.
I hope whoever's doing that hears this, and can see my finger like to the camera.
A choice middle finger.
You're an absolute loser. You're an adult. Grow up.
Yeah.
Ew, you're a loser. Whoever's doing this, you're a loser.
So he told me that, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not speechless, because honestly, nothing surprises me anymore in this youth hockey racket. But like holding that over a family's head if they want to make a decision to like go to a different place.
How old are the kids? Do you know?
Yeah, like 15.
Oh my God.
14 or 15. Yeah.
Throw the book at these losers.
Yeah. So anyways, it's
take yourself to the vet and ask to be put down.
I knew that line was coming. I knew that line was coming.
I got that from Michael Davies. What's up, Davies?
Yeah. So it's funny, like for everybody out there that thinks like their city is like the worst or whatever, like it's not just you. This stuff unfortunately happens in too many spots, but that's why it's so important to surround yourself with good people in this game. You know, people that care about your kid, people that care about their development. They don't care about the next flag that they're going to put into their rink. And if you're operating that way, you ain't putting flags in your rink. You're not going to win. There's a reason why people want to leave. And that's probably it. The fact that you're doing that, because you really don't care about the kids if that's the case. So I don't know, man. It was pretty disheartening, but like, yeah, Twitter was not very happy about it either, to say the least.
Man, I'm gonna go on that Twitter feed in about.
But honestly, you know what the
minutes.
worst thing is? Like, so many of the comments were like, "This is not surprising." Like, I've seen this. I had a couple parents actually like reach out to me and say like that happened to me too. And these are in like different places around the country, right? And it's just surround yourself with good people. Got to do it. Got to do it.
Dude, I want to just like comment now. I'll wait till the podcast is over before I start throwing Twitter bows.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So honestly, going back to Duante, I don't want to dampen the mood, because this was such an awesome conversation, and you know, his life story, how he got to where he got to, is incredible. And you know, Duante is he was nominated for the Willie O'Ree Award, which is a huge award that the NHL gives out every year with some of the work that he's doing. And part of it is he was heavily involved in the starting of the Rising Stars Academy, which is a spot that makes the game accessible to people who it might otherwise not have been accessible to, particularly in the DC area. But his goal is to like, let's do this everywhere there's an NHL team. And so like, if you can, for everybody that's listening, like check out the Rising Stars Academy, go online and check it out, because they're doing great things and honestly, we talk a lot about grassroots hockey so many times, even on our podcast, but like people are focusing on the elite, right? And what does elite mean nowadays? Doesn't mean much, but like I'm talking about it in the truest sense of the word. Like people always talk about the AAA or the elite or whatever, and we lose focus sometimes on the grassroots. And we've talked about it on the podcast, like as many as possible for as long as possible. And to get that as many as possible, you have to find a way to lower the barrier of entry to be able to play our game. And with the way that the cost is for hockey nowadays, it's absolutely insane, and it's keeping people away from our sport. But it's people like Duante and the work that he's doing with the Rising Stars Academy that really, really, really is getting more people into the game and making our game better and making it more accessible for the grassroots level. And I can't say enough about the work that he's doing, and just like such a cool thing that he was nominated for that Willie O'Ree award. For people that understand who Willie O'Ree was and what he's done for the game, like this is a big deal. And we got to talk about a lot of those kinds of things with Duante on this podcast. And he's a special guy, man. He's a special guy. You guys are going to love this conversation.
100%. You see why he won the award, clearly. And some of his answers in the 10 questions also, you can just tell he's got a huge heart, and he's looking to try and just help everybody enjoy the game of hockey, bring everybody to the game of hockey, and absolutely just make the game a better place and a more inclusive place. And sounds like he's doing a great job. I hope there's some way that the people listening, and I hope that there's some way that our community members can pick up on his program that he's building in Washington and maybe spread it to other cities, because that would be awesome.
That would be unreal for sure. And so to see the Rising Stars Academy, you can go to capsyouthhockey.com and search for it there. But just phenomenal work. So we're going to support it, and we encourage everybody out there to support it as well. So before we do get over to Duante, though, we have some people to thank. First, want to thank GelSticks, GelStx.com. Go to GelSticks, use the coupon code ThinkTank, one word, and you will get a discount on your way to training sticks. Jeffrey?
Thank you to Train Heroic. Train Heroic is the unbelievable app and software that allows me to train so many hockey players for so cheaply year-round. Whether you're a team, an organization, or an individual, okay, I can help you train smarter and harder for literally fractions, plural, fractions of the price of what it costs to train me in person, or anybody else who's knows what they're doing training hockey players in person. So anybody has any questions, reach out to me on my Instagram at Jeff Lecchio, blue check mark male model. Thank you to Train Heroic. Also want to say thank you to Cure Nutrition. Cure Nutrition is a CBD company I'm with. I take CBD twice a day, every single day. I say this every episode because it's massively true, and it's been very, very beneficial to my mental health, my physical health, my recovery. I put out a lot of energy every single day, and CBD 100% has helped me recover from long, stressful days for the last, how old am I? 38 years of life. So thank you to Cure Nutrition. And if anybody wants to go to their website, try anything out, go to curenutrition.com, and you can use my discount code GMBM.
Also want to thank Helios Hockey, an unbelievable product. It is a sensor that you put in your shoulder pads to get real data feedback right when you're done with your training session, your practice, or your game. Helios Hockey. I'm going to the next one already. Helios Hockey. These guys are awesome. And this chip that you put in your shoulder pads and gives you the real-time feedback, particularly on your stride mechanics, and they give you a hustle score, which the younger kids absolutely love. But the game changer is it cuts up your shifts for you right after the game. And absolute game changer. No, like Jeff and I used to do, pressing the rewind button, pressing the play button, pressing the pause button, pressing the fast forward on our VHS tapes. None of that anymore. You literally get off the ice. It pairs with whatever video you're using, Live Barn all the way to your iPhone, and you get your shifts cut up for you right after the game. You can literally watch them on the way home. So awesome, awesome stuff. So go to helioshockey.com. We have a discount with them too. Think Tank, one word, and it will give all new Helios members 20% off their initial 12-month membership. And you're also going to get that sensor to put in your shoulder pads for free. So go to helioshockey.com. Also have an unreal new sponsor in NHL Sense Arena. And this is a virtual reality training game. Again, like we talk about it on the podcast with Duante, but like ice costs are insane right now. And so we're trying to find ways to help all of our listeners to get better without having to be on the ice. And this virtual reality training game with NHL Sense Arena is an unbelievable way to do that. And so you can get unlimited access to over 100+ drills. You can work on your hockey IQ with this thing. It's a lot of fun to do. Vex and I both did it when I was down in St. Louis last weekend. Like, it's kind of addicting. It's kind of addicting. It's a lot of fun to do. You're like playing these drills and playing these games and stuff. And it's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to learn hockey IQ. I really do believe that. We wouldn't be hawking this thing if we didn't believe that. You guys know that.
And I wasn't a video game guy. Like
no, you weren't.
I was never one of those nerds. I was never into video games, and I 100% dig it.
Vex digs it. So go to hockey.sensearena.com. And if you order one of these, you can use the coupon code again, Think Tank, one word, and you'll get $50 off your annual subscription for the virtual reality training game. And guys, I'm not like, this thing is unreal. This thing is unreal. And so again, go to hockey.sensearena.com today. Lastly, let's thank icehockeysystems.com, the best website out there for all your coaching education needs. They got thousands of drills. They got whiteboard explanations from high achieving hockey people. You have the ability to go on there, draw your drills up digitally, and disseminate them out to your players before practice, your parents, if you want to let them know what's going on throughout practice. And we have partnered with them to do an associations platform where you can get this for every single coach in your association. Absolute game changer. Build a whole library that all your coaches can go to when they're planning their practices. You can have different practice plans made age appropriately for each level that the coaches can use. It's phenomenal. And they also have access to the Hockey Think Tank Parent Survival Guide. And so hockey directors out there, if you do this associations platform, guaranteed you're getting less angry phone calls because the parents get access to this Hockey Think Tank Parent Survival Guide. So go to icehockeysystems.com today. And thank you to all of our listeners. We appreciate you guys so much. If you can, do us a service and just share us to your hockey groups if you think we're making a positive impact on the hockey world. And I've gotten, dude, it's crazy. Like I've gotten some emails over the past couple weeks that have been really, really heartwarming about our podcast. I literally got an email today from a woman whose son did part of it was like a speech for a class that she filmed. And like, he talked about the Hockey Think Tank and how it's taught him life lessons, and how like the theme of it was hockey can teach you life lessons. And it was like the coolest thing ever, man. Like I got kind of choked up as I was listening to it.
Let's go.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And so we appreciate you guys sending us that stuff. We appreciate you guys leaving us ratings, reviews, all that kind of stuff on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're getting your podcasts from. And we just appreciate your support so much. And those notes go a long, long way. Doing this podcast for as long as we have, it takes time. It takes time. And every week we make sure we do it and do it to the best of our abilities and bring on unbelievable guests like Duante for the betterment of the hockey world. And if you can help to share us with the people that you think can benefit from it too, it just goes a long, long way. So we appreciate you guys. You're going to love this podcast episode. Very, very inspiring. So without further ado, here we go with Duante Abercrombie. We know hockey games move fast, but with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you can score faster than anything happening on the ice. This week, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. If you go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, you can see all the available lines and all the available odds for all NHL games going on. That's right. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app with the code THPN. New customers bet just $5 on the NHL and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved. We are so excited to have on this episode of the podcast down in the D.C. area, we have Duante Abercrombie. Duante, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, we're pumped to have you and share your journey, share your story. Been a lot of great places, done a lot of great things in the game, and really looking forward to diving into that. But before we do, tell us how you fell in love with this great game. You grew up right there in DC. What got you in love with this beautiful sport of hockey?
I mean, like many people, it was a typical cold, empty rink where you walk in, you step on the ice first time, you hear the crunch. No, that was not my experience. I've had those moments, but mine was my mom wanted me to try something that was completely different from the typical upbringing of a young Black youth in Washington, D.C. in the early 90s. And I mean, we could talk the stereotypes, but the urban inner city lifestyle was you're definitely probably going to end up playing football. It's accessible. Basketball is accessible. Running track is accessible. But my mom wanted me to try things outside of the norm because she had me as a teenager, a late teen, 19 years old. But she wanted to break the trend. She wanted to not have her sons be statistics and fall into the streets, but she wanted to make sure that we got to experience a life that was outside of where we grew up. So gymnastics was something that she wanted us to try. Playing an instrument, so violin was something that she wanted us to try. No, if you gave me strings now, I would not be able to play anything other than maybe hot cross buns. But just the exposure was something that she preached heavily when we were growing up. And hockey or ice skating was something that she spoke highly of. And so she put myself into a learn to skate class when I was 5 years old. I saw a hockey game afterwards, and that's when I really fell in love. I went there to skate, but then I fell in love with the game, and I said I want to do that, and then the rest was history. So yeah, it was love at first sight, but that was not the walking on the ice with the Mighty Ducks and all. No, that wasn't the way it was. Gordon Bombay, no, it wasn't that way.
Well, let me ask you this, because like parents are the unsung heroes in life in general, but particularly in our crazy sport of hockey, and the amount that they sacrifice financially, time wise, all that kind of stuff. You know, you're a dad now. Looking back, you mentioned your mom and what she had to do to kind of get you not to be a statistic, I think was the exact words you were saying. Looking back as a parent now, like how do you see that sacrifice and how much gratitude do you have for that?
Well, it's just wild because like I think about it, I'm 37 now, and I think about the times when you're in high school and you're playing and you travel hockey and all of those things. She's roughly 33, 35 years old making this happen for her child. And I couldn't imagine doing the exact same thing, the financial commitment. And then there's other things that she spoke about at her age. And obviously, yes, me being a Black hockey player, but not even just that, just the age gap of sitting in locker rooms and parent meetings with these other parents that are already fully established in their careers, quote unquote, or they appear to be so far further along than where she was. So just that the confidence was lacking. But for her to still say, no, this is something that I want my child to do. I feel like this is valuable for him and this is valuable for his future. Like my grandparents were extremely involved. They dropped me off at practices and went to games. They still come to games. My aunts and uncles, they would come to games and drop us off. The community, those individuals that played on our teams, your carpool. So that in that aspect, it was the exact same experience as everybody else. Your parents are doing everything they can to get you from school to practice. They're leaving work early. They're flying all over the place. In that aspect, the experience was the same, but to see the grind of her doing hair on the weekends and all these different things just to buy you a hockey stick or just to afford for you to be able to play was phenomenal. And I honestly do everything that I do now to try and not necessarily repay her, but just assure that everything that you did was for a good reason.
That's amazing, man. And all the players listening right now in the car with your mom or your dad, look over at them and give them a massive hug. Don't laugh. Do it right now. All right. Like that story, all of our moms, all of our dads, like they all had to sacrifice a lot, some more than others, but they all had to sacrifice a lot for you to be sitting in that car on the way to the rink, listening to the show right now. Always remember that and give mom and dad hugs. Always.
Absolutely. It made me just think back to my daughter. She ran up to me on the playground, and it's probably happened we've been on this for maybe 10 minutes now, probably 15 to 17 minutes ago. And she just ran over just at the playground and just gave me a big kiss on the shoulder. Like, it wasn't even on the cheek. It was just a love you, Dad. Like one of those situations. I'm just, it made walking to the playground worth it. But that's what you do as a parent. You sacrifice for your children.
And I think for all the kids that are listening, kind of similar to you, Vex, like a thank you from a kid to a parent can go a long way. A long way. Like, how awesome did that feel, Duante? Just like, hey, love you, Dad. It's
the best. I'm melting right now. You can't see it. I'm melting right now.
Well, what's interesting? So I've had the opportunity over the past month to travel around with Barry Smith to a couple different spots. And for those that don't know, Barry, 7-time Stanley Cup winner as a coach, coach with Scotty Bowman for a lot of years. And he's talked to some of these kids, and one of the stories that he tells is about Panarin, Artemi Panarin, playing for the Rangers right now. And the story that he tells is Panarin comes from Russia and came from not a privileged background, to say the least. And he had to take a city bus to practice every day. And he had hand-me-down equipment. Like, it was just, that's where he came from. And it's crazy because he would pay the bus fare. And the bus driver, rather than taking it, he would actually put it aside and kind of saved it on the side for him. And at the end of the year, the bus driver took all the money that Panarin was paying to use the bus, and he ended up buying him skates, right? Vex, I see your face right now. You're like, whoa, it's like a really cool. And this is a guy that's making over $11 million playing in the NHL right now. And so it's just interesting because, Duante, your story, and then you think of Panarin, like you don't have to be affluent to do something great in this sport. I really despise how this sport has become for the affluent, and the price and barrier to entry has become difficult. It's not impossible, but it's become with the cost a lot more difficult than some other sports to even join. And so for all the kids that are listening, and maybe some of the parents that are like really stressing about the financial side of it, like, where there's a will, there's a way. And Duante, you mentioned like the community helping you out and things like that. Like, and I know that Washington area, there's been a lot of, and maybe I'll just ask you the question, but I've heard that there's been a lot of, work to try and get more kids from the cities to try hockey. And is it Fort DuPont that was the rink that had some different things that they had going on? For you growing up and kind of what you're seeing now, how would you say we're at in hockey in trying to help people from a lower income status get in there? And then what are some things that people are doing to get more people into the sport?
Well, so that's actually where I started playing, was at Fort DuPont.
Yeah.
In their community outreach, low cost, low barrier of entry program. Fort DuPont Cannons is the oldest diversity program in the world. And it started literally because an individual just wanted his kids wanted to play hockey because he was a semi-pro hockey player himself. And they saw stuff in the driveway, and one of his sons was playing, and the neighborhood just wanted to join in. He said, well, all right, why don't we just start a team? So he went to the local rink, rented some ice, and there you go. You have the first program. But that's where it starts. It starts with individuals seeing that there is a need, but actually stepping up and making it happen. I'm very fortunate to the Washington Capitals. Ted Leonsis, I call him Uncle Ted. I've only met him probably 10 times, but I just say Uncle Ted all the time because he's been such a major support of hockey. Like my brother, actually, part of his schooling was paid for by the Washington Capitals through a scholarship, just because of who my brother is and how well he did in high school. But honestly, he would have never had that money had he not played ice hockey. And Ted Leonsis and the Washington Capitals have done a phenomenal job of supporting community programs. But I think it goes to like what I said about Coach Neil Henderson, who was the individual that started the Cannons. You have to see a need, and you can't look to somebody else to make the difference. You have to say, this is something that I feel passionate about. This is something that I want to see done. And you have to, put your money up, or put your time up, or just put your support up. Just say you support these programs and support these initiatives is honestly, in most cases, more than enough to get the ball moving in the right direction. I mean, even most recently, Washington Capitals and I have joined, and we've done something that's called the Rising Stars Academy, where this is something I've always dreamt of. This is the reason why I wanted to play professional hockey. I never got anywhere close to the NHL, but just being in that community, in that conversation, now legitimizes yourself, legitimizes your career, and allows you to be able to go back and have a great impact on your community. And that's all I wanted to do. And the Capitals thankfully saw that. They noticed it, and they said, hey, Duante, we want to tap you to be our head of the Rising Stars program, which we were expecting at the onset, 20 to 50 players of color in the DC area to sign up for this program. We had over 150, I think most recently up to 175 individuals registering. And this is in just the DC metro area. And the goal of the Rising Stars is not just entrance into hockey, because now that we have individuals of color, now that we have individuals from certain socioeconomic backgrounds in hockey in the DC area, what's the next step? Like, where is the elite level training? How do they get the top end level training that's affordable? I had to do a GoFundMe. My wife's family, my family, plenty of people that I had no idea who they were. I had to do a GoFundMe to go up and train at Twiston, Ontario years ago, because I cared about it that much, but also because my community and my friends and family cared about it that much for me, that they were able to put their own money up, and I was able to go up and train. And shouts out to everybody that supported. But that's the opportunity to experience the elite level. Honestly, can take players so much further than they ever thought they could ever go.
If they ever come out to St. Louis, I'll train them for a week or something. Can come anytime,
Well, what's great is it started with the Willie Academy in Pittsburgh. A friend of mine, Pete Robinson, who I've known for years, runs the youth hockey development for the Washington Capitals, the director of youth hockey development for the Caps. And he said, hey, they're doing something with Jaden Lindo and everybody else in Pittsburgh. We should do something like this in Washington. This reminds me of stuff that we've talked about. I said, absolutely, let's make this happen. And thankfully, I've been on the Black Hockey Committee with the Capitals for probably a few years now, since the pandemic started. And we do raise money. And most of the money that we raise are through the jerseys. And then obviously what's been happening recently with the jersey initiatives in the NHL and the new restrictions that have been put in place, I don't see it as a negative in the restrictive sense. I see it as you now have to find a more creative way to develop a way to make money. You have to get out into the community. You have to find ways for players to be involved. Ovechkin put on our jersey this year that they didn't wear it before games, but he found a way to still come up and see our players. And then that's players want to help. Players want to help make a difference. But it was started with the initiative with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and now it's with the Capitals. So I have no doubt in my mind that the entire league is going to start having programs like this. So yes, it will be coming out to St. Louis.
That's awesome.
Well, I think it's a really relevant conversation right now, because I feel like in the world of hockey, so much of the talk is about the elite, and then the grassroots. People want to spend all their time and money on the elite when the grassroots is everything. Like, that's where everybody starts. And we want to start at the top of the pyramid rather than start at the bottom and get more people involved. So with the work that you guys have done with the Caps, I know for a fact there's a ton of hockey directors that listen to our podcast. There's a ton of people that sit on boards of youth hockey organizations that are on here. What are some of the things that you guys have done from the grassroots level to really try to elevate our game, get more people involved? And what are some things maybe you've seen from some other spots? You mentioned Pittsburgh and things like that. How could more people in the hockey world really elevate this grassroots initiative to help get more people in the game?
Well, I don't know about necessarily. I'll answer that second. I'll say what we do with the Rising Stars that I think really keeps people not just engaged, but it gives them a different lens and a different focus. We not just focus on the on-ice component. It's not just the off-ice training component. It's the culinary skills. It's the communication skills. We talked about media training and how to handle your social media, and how to handle an interview, because a lot of them not only were being interviewed, but will continue to be interviewed as this continues to happen. And it builds resume and interview for your job and for college applications. Like, it just builds the skills that are necessary down the line. And in my opinion, I think that that's where we equip them with skills that are non-traditional as far as like when it comes to hockey. It's stuff that you learn as you do hockey, because you got to macros and micros, and you got to learn how to talk to people and all these other different things. But a lot of times it's not until you're in junior hockey, if you're lucky enough to have a coach that harps on it, or in college where you have a nutritionist, or definitely at the pro level because you have the old vets that are saying, hey, if you keep living like that, you're not going to make it 6 years in the pros. And that's once you get there. But if the hockey directors can start handling these conversations now, sleep is a big one. Like, a lot of those conversations need to start being had. But as far as just getting people in grassroots, I think it starts off the ice. The Capitals have already started some initiatives where things are happening off the ice. I can't give everything away because I don't know if everything has been completely launched, but I know that ball hockey is big. Like, they have an outdoor league that they just, I think they had their inaugural championship series a few weekends ago. And that's another way. It's a court. You go out there, you either run around in your shoes, or you put on some inline skates, but you don't have to rent ice anymore. You're not paying, as it is in DC, $650 an hour.
Ooh.
I know. Yeah. Your pockets are hurting. For ice, you are literally just going out in your neighborhood, finding hopefully they let you skate on the tennis court, but finding a court where you can just skate around, play, and just enjoy the game your way. If you live in Florida, you don't have ice, but you definitely have courts where you can go out and just hit a ball around. Like hockey, we always talk about the National Hockey League. It's not the National Ice Hockey League. It's the National Hockey League. Like, it supports all types of hockey, blind hockey, sled hockey, like all of it. It's like we need to actually start pushing hockey at the grassroots with all levels of hockey. And I think that ball hockey is probably one of the best ones, because it's sneakers, sticking a ball. There you go.
Oh, I miss playing ball hockey, dude.
I'm just thinking
so much.
games
like
I played in. Yeah. Oh yeah.
There was roller hockey. It was street hockey. It was driveway hockey.
Shinny hockey.
It was basement hockey. It was shinny hockey. And you're right, man. Like, ice time is insane, and particularly in DC, where let's just say rinks are getting bought up by certain people, and the prices are going up. Ice time's expensive, and find a way to and honestly, I say this all the time. Like, I don't know what the percentages are, but like, there's a percentage of me that fell in love with hockey on the ice. And then there's a percentage of me that fell in love with hockey in the street, on the driveway, in the basement with my dad, like on the tennis court, like you said, with friends when there wasn't a net, like a tennis net. So you set up nets on there. Man, like, you can fall in love with this thing in a whole host of different ways. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think, and I know a lot of NHL teams have dabbled and are thinking a lot about like deck hockey and ball hockey and things like that in the cities near their arenas and stuff like that, and doing some outreach from that way. And yeah, man, I love what you said there. It doesn't have to be ice hockey, just hockey.
It's just hockey.
And it just allows so much more people to fall in love with it. And I know people have talked about different initiatives with ball hockey, and some have followed through, some haven't in the NHL. But that you guys have done that, that's really, really cool. And hopefully that spreads like wildfire.
Well, yeah, the lack of rinks is the reason why in the DC area. So it's a major market. The Caps came in, they did a lot of winning. Unfortunately, land is extremely expensive in the DC area. Building rinks and sustaining rinks is extremely expensive.
Maddie was telling me that there hasn't been a rink built after the Caps won the Cup a bunch of years ago. That's wild.
There's been a couple, but when it comes to given the growth of the sport, there's a lot of kids that are still on a waiting list. And I mean, like 3,000-4,000 deep waiting list for learn to play, just because the want is there, the desire is there, the winning has been here. In Washington D.C., they're currently still pushing for playoffs with everything that's been going on with the team and the roster and the changes, and there's still a solvent team, and kids see that and they want to be a part of it. But if there's no place to push them, then unfortunately, they're going to fall by the wayside or go to another sport. And I think that anybody that wants to be a part of hockey should be able to be a part of hockey. You should be able to give them something. They want to be a part, give them a stick, give them a ball, and say, go make hockey your own. You are a part of this, because that individual could turn out to be who knows who down the line, and they can bring thousands more people with them to the game just by a stick and a ball. That's it.
Love that. Love that. So are they going to start? I mean, you got to think it'd be a lot cheaper to build some. Or they just put them on courts? Like, how are you doing the ball hockey stuff? Where are they doing it? How do we get more of that happening? Like, let's problem solve here. You know, like what's the way to do that? Is it funding? Is it no? There's no space to rent. Like, so we got to create, you know, different leagues, or we got to make a building, or you know what I mean? Like, where do we go from there?
Well, you have to go to the community. That's the first thing. You can't expect everybody to come to you. You have to go out and find your next fans, if that's the way you want to call it. You have to go out and get to the schools. You have to start initiatives. And again, here we are with the Caps. Peter Robinson, hats off to him. If you don't know him, you need to have him on, because they just reached the 1 million student mark in D.C. 1 million students have been reached on a yearly basis by the Washington Capitals. They have sticks and balls in all of the schools. They have curriculums in all of the schools, the public school system in this area, where all of the students are now available or able to experience street hockey or ball hockey in PE. And it's very simple. Capitals branded. So now they know who the Capitals are. They get to experience hockey in their own way. And now when they see the game on TV, or now if they hear somebody talking about, hey, yeah, I've done that before. Now, it's not a foreign conversation. You want to speak to diversity. I think it's 67% of those kids are from diverse backgrounds. So you're creating more fans, and you're creating a more diverse fan base just by saying, hey, you know what, we need to get out in the community and reach more people. So I think that's where it starts. If you can get into schools,
love that.
Make it happen.
Love that. I don't know if you went to schools and did like the book readings or the speeches and stuff when you were in juniors, Toph, with the Steel, but in Omaha, it's funny. It was Narado, Lurgy, and myself. We were the trio. We would hit all the schools, give speeches, sometimes play hockey with them, like whatever. But the kids absolutely loved it. And I would have to think from a business standpoint, donating the sticks and stuff like that to a school is a taxable write-off for your business and stuff. So like college teams and junior teams, like let's get on that, like in your community. Like, why would you not do that? And you throw some, Capitals tape on the stick, or Western Michigan Broncos tapes on the stick, and give it to the local kids. Now they're immediately all going to start looking after those players, looking them up, hopefully going to the games. And like you said, it's just going to create more fans for the sport in general. It's just going to be great for the sport to get just more people involved in all these different walks of life. I love that.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. We used to bring a piece of hockey equipment. We'd bring somebody's gear, and you'd take like the tallest person in the class, if it was like a class of like sixth grade or fifth, like whatever, 5, 6, 7-year-olds, whatever it was. And you'd actually put them in all the equipment, shoulder pads, pants, like everything. And it was always really funny. They always got a kick out of that.
That's funny.
But Duante, I want to go back to something, because this is something I've been thinking a lot about this recently. I've spent a lot of time in Minnesota over the past couple months. I'm actually heading up there this week too for the Frozen Four. I got some meetings with a couple different people up that way. And that's this idea of community. And I think that the decline of community just in society in general is making people a lot more anxious, stressed, depressed. And I think the decline of community in hockey and the community model has made our sport a shell of what it once was. And it was funny. I was thinking about this the other day, but like, you know how coaches are kind of like, a lot of them think that like there's not a lot of compete today, like there's not a lot of snarl, there's not a lot of compete. And I was like, man, I wonder if part of that is the fact that the community model is no longer part of like that big. Because like, if you think about it, I live in Chicago. I hate St. Louis. I can't wait to play St. Louis. Or like, you know what I mean? Like you have rivalries, you have different schools you're playing against. Like it kind of gets you into that competitive, like you're playing games that matter more rather than like games to get scouted or, you know, whatever it may be. And so I was thinking about that, like the decline of the community model. Is that part of the reason why there's not as much compete anymore in a kind of a weird way? I don't know. Like, what do you guys, Duante, what do you think about that? It was just something that I was chewing on the other day.
I actually think it goes a little bit further than that, because a lot of these players, the only time they see each other is at practice. They live so far away from each other. They go to schools, and honestly, some of them completely different states. I remember when I was at second grade is popping up very vividly in my head, and has nothing to do with hockey. It's academics. But all of our friends in my class, we all competed when it came to our grades. And it was, what did you get? Oh, I got a 92. What did you get? Oh, I got like, and everything was always a competition because you see each other every day. You're talking to each other day. It's the same thing that you're talking about. It's the same thing about building a team. If you're only coming together for practice and games, you're not going to have much success. Yeah, you may have the most skilled team, but as far as like truly building the culture of a team that's going to get you to a championship level, you have to have some adversity. You have to have sticking moments. You have to have times where they can actually come together and grow as a team. If they don't have stories, if they don't have moments to be able to bond as a team, and even in youth hockey as a parent group, then you're going to have you have a tough time winning at the highest levels. But yes, I think it was obviously Minnesota. You have all the schools, and that's the reason why Minnesota is what it is. You go and watch the state championship game. No other state is filling up an NHL barn, but the reason they do it is because it's the entire community coming out to support. I'm not going to say one school or the other. I don't want to show any type of bias to one school or the other in Minnesota, but they all come out to support their school. So yeah, I think that does play a big part in it, but I don't know how we get that back outside of coaches finding ways to bring that community or sense of community back, or sense of team. And
yeah, I think some coaches do a good job of that, you know, kind of
stop playing so many out of town games. Play more games closer to your area. Cause like
build rivalries up, baby.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that you said 100%. You're chewing on that. I was chewing on that. I was like, okay, chew away.
You've never heard that?
No, I have. It's just funny. I like it. So okay, I wanted to also chew on it. I'm just hungry. Long day. I was eating the beef stick. But you're so right, man. As soon as you said that, and I was like, yeah, when I was younger, we played all the St. Louis teams multiple times. When you play them multiple times, you know, somebody stick you last game, 47. I'm going to remember you next time. And then I'm going to get him and the next time. And that's what builds those rivalries. And then year over year, they get more and they get more intense. And it makes you want to compete. And then you're going to have to compete against all those kids multiple times in the different tryouts as you get older. And I think that you're right, Toph. That totally builds that compete level from a young age, and what we're talking about, culture and sense of pride in your organization, because you're playing against the guys across town, and we kind of lost that. And now, you know, everybody's chasing rankings and all that. So now, we got to go play this ranked team, that ranked team. We're going to spend all the parents' money and go on all these trips that they're not all necessary. Some, okay, yeah, but not all of them. So I think we could, you know, kill a bunch of stones with some birds here. If we would play more in-town games.
Yeah, and I got to jump back in on that one too. I mean, once I wrap my head around the birds killing stones, but this is something that I've said in a coaches conference before. It's pretty controversial amongst the coaches, and it was only controversial because they said that the parents would have a major issue with it. And I said we need to, if we could, cut games in half and increase the amount of practices. Not only for development, but when you're talking about the grit, the snarl. Now, you know, I'm in practice with this individual and I'm tired of getting worked over and over again by this same individual. I'm going to find a way to now sharpen my skills to be able to compete and to be able to raise my level. And my teammates get to see me get better. My teammates get to see me work. So now we're all tick, 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 climbing, versus you come in, you do a couple things during the week, and you're really just preparing for the weekend. And you're playing this team from, like we said, this place of the world. And you never develop that true competitive nature, because it starts at home. Like you always talk about the sibling, or maybe not you, but just in general, you talk about the sibling aspect. Growing up with a sibling, you're typically going to be more competitive because you're fighting every single day for every single inch in your house. Your parents' attention, the first snack, the first bite of this, so you're naturally going to create more competition within the household. It's the same thing with the team. So I remember every coach looked at me and said, absolutely not. Some people got up and started yelling. I can't tell you where it was because it's a big organization. But I was like, no, cut games in half and increase the amount of practice. It's less travel, less money spent by the parents. I guarantee you'll have better players.
Totally agree, man. I was always battling Topher the snacks when I lived with him. Who can get to the Flatlanders burger? Was that place? Dude,
Flatlanders, yeah.
Their burgers, I still
So
remember
good.
those. It's so good. Aunt Debs is probably laughing right now. I just want to get Aunt Debs laughing.
And the buffalo wings. Can't forget about those.
But that was your game day meal.
That was my pregame meal. That's how dumb we were 20 years ago or whatever.
Wait, so
it was.
now you got to tell me about this meal. What was in this meal?
No, like my
Hilarious.
superstition freaking pregame meal. And this is junior hockey. So I'm talking like 17, 18 years old, playing for the Steel, like looking for a scholarship type stuff. And my pregame meal was like chicken wings. And
Get it in you.
No carbs, not just chicken wings, just straight wings. Probably not even
Tommy
water.
like
Is it
wing.
bare or sauced? Like what are we going with here?
Yeah, no, there was they had that was actually kind of like the kicker to it was they had like this unbelievable sauce
good
that was
sauce.
so good. And when it went under, the restaurant went under, I don't even know how many years ago. I remember coming back and it's like literally on the way home from the airport to my house. Yeah. And it was gone. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But geez, can you believe that? Like my pregame meal in junior hocky was buffalo wings.
I would be so farty and bloated if that's all I ate.
I probably
game day.
was, dude.
You probably
We just
were.
didn't know any better.
It was
So
just hockey smell. That's all it was.
But as we're talking about this community, like, and then I've said this a lot on the podcast, but like, if you haven't read Phil Jackson, for everybody that's listening, you need to read Phil Jackson. 11 Rings and Sacred Hoops are phenomenal books. If you want to learn about leadership, winning 11 titles with the Bulls and then the Lakers had Jordan and Kobe and Shaq and Scottie Pippen and all those guys. And one of the things that he's really, really big on is understanding that you're playing for something bigger than yourself. And how empowering that is for your development and for your competitiveness in wanting to bring the best that you can every day. Like if you're playing for yourself, you're going to bring it. But when you're playing for the person next to you, or you're playing for the community, or you're playing for the alumni, or you're playing for whatever it may be, like it just brings out the best in you. And it also brings out the best in everybody if everybody's on that same page. And so like, that's for me, like a huge disservice to our kids who are growing up and developing is this lack of playing for something bigger than yourself. There's this sense right now of like, I'm playing to make juniors, or I'm playing to make college, I'm playing to make pro, rather than like I'm playing because I love it, or I'm playing for my parents that sacrificed everything for me, or I'm playing for the guy next to me in the locker room we've gone through some stuff together in our school, in our town, whatever. And for all the coaches that are out there, like one of the best things that you can do for your team if you want to win is to figure out a way where everybody's playing for something bigger than themselves. And that's like, I harp on it all the time, but like, it's just a powerful thing. And Duante, in your journey, and you play pro hockey, like we're talking about you growing up in DC, and you spoke a little bit about your journey, but like, I want to get into that even a little bit more, because you did end up playing a little bit in all the way in pros. And so like, thinking about community, thinking about your mom, thinking about your brother, and I'm not sure if you have other siblings, but like, what does that mean to you now? Like thinking about that, where you started to where you finished in your playing, you've worked in the NHL, you're working with the Caps, you got a lot of other fun things going on. Like, sitting back and reflecting about your journey, what are you grateful for? What comes to mind? And I'm sure community is a big part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just thankful that my mom had the guts to be different. Not even just in our community, but in our family. Like, I'm obviously the first, or not obviously, but I'm the first hockey player in our family. And my mom was the one that said, this is something that I want for my child. And she has many regrets in the way she raised us, especially in the game, because she didn't know. She was literally flying.
We all do.
Yeah, exactly.
We ain't perfect as parents. Buckle up, Vex.
Oh yeah. Good luck. But it's one of those things where, like, I just tell her thank you for trying, honestly, for trying to find a way, because in her trying, I actually was able to succeed and make a life in this game that I was not expecting. I always had a feeling that if you continue to actually listen to what people say, if you just work hard and stay with it, but as we've always said when I was growing up, is you have to be a good person too. As long as you take care of that, you take care of people, and you make sure you take care of people on the way up. Like that's the most important. But my brother is another one. Like, he pushed me. We're 10 years apart, but just seeing him grow up in the game and have the opportunities that I didn't have, and honestly, me advocating for him to have those opportunities to play AAA and all these other different things, it was phenomenal. But when you spoke about community, there's two things that came up when you talk about playing for something other than yourself. Yes, Phil Jackson, amazing coach. I'm not as well read on Phil as I would like to be, but obviously I watched the Last Dance like everybody else, and it was phenomenal. I wanted to play for him. But I won't say controversial, but a very outspoken individual in hockey, Brian Burke, in his book spoke about whenever he went and made decisions with the money of the team, he was like, this is not my money. These people pay a lot of money to come and watch us play. Every cent that we spend is from the community. And he thinks about that with every dollar that he spends. And that was something, I like audiobooks. So I like to hear the person tell their own stories. And when he told that story, it actually sounded like he truly, truly meant it. And another one was from last year with the Marlies, Cal Clifford. We had we just had a bonding moment as a team when we were on a road trip in Winnipeg. We were playing the Manitoba Moose. And when we got back to Toronto, I asked him about that moment. And he said, that's what truly makes a team. Like, those moments are what really matters. Because he said when he played in LA and they won the cups, he was like, that's when I knew we were going to win, is when the people sitting next to me, I cared about them raising the cup over their head way more than I cared about myself. Because like you already said it, the stuff that this individual is going through, the stuff that happened at their home, the stuff that they just had to deal with, I know that they need this. Like, I want this for them. I'm going to put my teeth in front of this puck because that individual deserves it. And that's when you truly have a team. That's when you truly have built something special, because it's not about you. It's all about just being a blessing to those around you. Because you're selfish otherwise if you just keep it to yourself. Like, that's not what living's about. Living's about making sure that everybody eats, making sure that everybody achieves the highest level of life that they possibly can. Yeah,
no doubt. What was the story with Clifford? What happened in Toronto that you were like, this dude's the man?
Well, no, it was just one of those nights where you're just out, and how boys can be out, but it wasn't an outrageous night. It wasn't like one of those ones that ends up on other podcasts. It was just a night where the team had a couple of days off in between games, and I'm just the type that I love for people to be together. And coaches were going out to one spot. But as I'm walking down there, and this is in the middle of Manitoba, as I'm walking down there, I see Cliffy and a couple of the other guys getting ready to head. I was like, hey, where you guys going? Like, we're going right around the corner to this other place. I was like, all right, well, I'll come with you, because I couldn't find the coaches at that point. So, and I know coaches and players typically don't mix. I'm like, no, we're a team. You got to get together, especially in moments like this. It was minus 35 Fahrenheit in Winnipeg. Ooh, so I walk outside in a small sweatshirt. I'm not expecting to go outside. You're in a hotel expecting to go downstairs, and then you're outside literally freezing your eyeballs off. But we get around, and it starts with one of us two of us. And I'm like, no, everybody needs to be here. And everybody, staff and everybody. And again, there's day off the next day, but this is the most bonding I had seen, honestly. I won't say the entire year, but that's what makes a team. Like, just everybody being around, everybody talking about their families, everybody just being humans away from the lights and the media and this and that. It's just, you get to be a human and you get to learn about each other. You get to learn about your athletic staff. You get to learn about, or your training staff. You get to learn about the individual that's a rookie that's struggling with stuff at home. Like, there's so much growth that happens in moments like that, and you need to have it. And it's sad that those moments have become so few and far between, because that's the long bus rides and nights out with the boys. Like, that's what truly builds culture, I believe. And it's not just in hockey, that's in all facets of life. You have to be open with each other. I'm going to steal something from my wife. She's a teacher and she's been doing this for years. And this is something that we did with the Rising Stars, and I've done it for years. And please do this with your teams. I tell you, it makes a difference. She loves knowing her students. We have students that we, quote unquote, have adopted, and we follow them throughout their lives. You get invited to weddings. Like, we just love them. But what she does is she says, tell me 3 things about you if I didn't know who you were. So you can hand it in, and it's like a way to get to know each other. But I took it a little step further, where I said, I want this to be anonymous, so hand it in, but I don't want you to put your name on it. And we're going to get in front of the team and say, this is the Hockey Think Tank hockey team. So I am a member of the Hockey Think Tank hockey team, and I'm struggling with blank. So as you're in there, your teammates are all hearing this said. You don't know who this is, but this now tells you a lot about what's going on in the room. And I did this with the Little Caps when I was there, and we've had all types of things come out. Individuals struggling with orientation and sexuality, individuals just finding out that their parents were just diagnosed with a stage 4 cancer and is not supposed to make it through the year. But there were some deep things. We had an individual come out and say that, that they're pretty sure that they're gay, but every time somebody tells a joke in the room like that, they want to say something, but they can't, because they just don't feel like that they can. And that's powerful. That goes so far to building culture. And it takes 15-20 minutes to make a moment like that happen, but it changes the course of your season. Because you talk about laying your teeth in front of somebody. If you know somebody's going through something like that at home or away from the rink or even in the locker room, you care that much more about them.
No question, man. I've at all 3 places I've worked in college, we did an activity called Best Day, Worst Day. You talk about your best day and you talk about the worst day of your life. And it gets deep, man. Like, you talk about worst days, like, family members struggling with addiction, family members passing away from cancer, divorce, like a lot of different things. And it's crazy. Like, after we did this activity at everywhere I've been, we've gone on a run.
Mm-hmm.
Gone on a run of wins. And it's so true. And when I do my team building with the college teams, one of the things I ask is, okay, raise your hand if you've ever won a championship. And Vex, you know this story, and I've told this quite a few times, but like, raise your hand if you've ever won a championship. In a college locker room, typically half the guys, maybe 60% of the guys will raise their hand. And then I'll say, okay, for everybody that has their hand raised right now, who's won a championship before, I want you to keep your hand raised if that was the closest team you've ever been on. And no hands go down, like 0 hands go down. And like, if you want to win, you have to create that community of vulnerability, like you were talking about with some of these activities. Create that community of togetherness, create that community of, and a lot of times you create those bonds. There's 2 ways, in my opinion, 2 of the best ways that you can create some of those really, really tight bonds. Number 1 is through social interactions, like you're talking about, getting everybody together. And I feel like if you want to see like the teams that go the farthest in the playoffs at whatever level, a great way to test that is if you say, okay, we're on the road and show up if you want to. Guys are going to go to X spot.
Mm-hmm.
the more people that show up to that spot, the better chances they are that they're going to be further along in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
I think there's a direct correlation to that.
Because you want to be around each other.
Because you want to be around each other. Exactly. And then the other one is adversity, like going through the stuff together and having to battle through tough times as a team, having to battle through tough times individually and having other people on your team there for you. You know, those are the two best ways to really create that real camaraderie. That real, like you said, I'm gonna put my teeth in front of this shot and block it because, you know, I care about you that much. And that's why, like, even just coming back to it, man, like, we need community. Like, we have to have more community in everything that we do. And if you're not in Minnesota, if you're in another spot, find a way to create it. And some coaches, like you talk about like AAA coaches, I'm not, beating down on AAA here because there's a lot of value to it. And some coaches do an unbelievable job in the confines of where they're coaching and just the atmosphere of what AAA hockey is. They do a phenomenal job of creating community, a phenomenal job of making sure the kids know that they're playing for something bigger than themselves. But you got to work a lot harder at it in that model than you do in the community model. And so, like, for all the decisions that we make as coaches, so much of it has to be, how can we create this community where people are loving each other? Players are going to get better. You're going to develop more. You're going to compete harder. And you're going to have a team that's going to want to sacrifice for each other, which at the end of the day is what wins championships.
And youth sports is all about character development anyway. I mean, if you get a 100%. Chance to play at the highest levels, then great. But I want, whether you play for me for one day, you play for me, and then you go on and become an NHL All-Star and Hall of Famer. I just want you to be a great citizen of the world and honestly make the place better. Like that's it. I want people calling back like, I'm this, I'm that. I have a great family. That's what coaching honestly is all about.
Absolutely, dude. Well, speaking of coaching, I want to touch on, you got the chance to work in the NHL for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you were a development coach there, got the chance to work with some pretty damn good players, some pretty damn good coaches. I have to imagine you saw Ryan Hardy quite a bit around the Marlies facility. Oh, yeah. He's the man. Talk a little bit about some of the things that you learned from being able and Toronto, people can wail on Toronto as much, like people love to do that. But they really tried to be at the forefront of this hockey development thing and really trying to putting things in place to make their players better. So what are some of the things that you've learned? You got any good stories about some of your time there? Love to touch on your time there in Toronto.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it all started with Kyle, just looking around the room and saying, there's so much, not just going on in the world, but there's so much happening at the youth hockey level. There's so much diversity coming up. We need to make sure that we have diversity in our organization. So he said, I'm not just going to bring somebody in and just have them sit on the side. I want you to actually come in and coach. So the hiring process was a full coaching interview and hiring process. I know it says elite prospects, it says development coach. I worked with our development staff at development camp, and then probably 1 or 2 days during the season. My job was actually like an assistant coach of all 3 teams. It was sitting there, you're right next to the coaches, you're breaking down film, you're doing all of the nuances, presenting the teams, presenting the players, focused on 5-on-5 in the sky for Leafs in the locker room, Marlies on the bench, and running parts of practice with the Growlers and on the bench the entire time. So it's like you actually get a chance to coach. But I guess that was more my track. It's tailor-made to what your track is when you're in that position. TJ, who was the first individual, is with Tri-City as an associate coach now, and Harry's in it now. And we all want to be bench coaches. So that's why it was more so geared towards our experiences towards the bench management, the hockey side. But it was honestly, first day, you don't know what to expect. I've been around NHL players before. I've been around pro hockey before. So there was no real shock moment, but it was really just, hey, this is hockey. Like, we talk about the same things that we talked about at youth hockey. Is just being performed by better players. You got, instead of an individual U16, you have Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. Like, it's kind of
it's kind of a little bit of a difference, but all right. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Those moments where you're on the ice, and that one memory comes to mind, and it's extremely vivid. We're on the ice, just, towards the end of practice, you can tell there's one more drill left because you've already been prepped before. There's another drill left after this, and Austin just goes down and does something Austin, and Schultz just blows whistles like, all right, that's it, stretch it out. Like he just ended practice because he's best player in the world, and just sometimes you just have to bow down and say, you know what, that's enough. We've got enough work in today. But just seeing the behind the scenes of how they become who they become on a daily basis, the constant video with some players, and then others that I won't say shy away, but others that that's not who they are. The focus on their details. Two guys that are great in face-offs. One doesn't hardly take face-offs at all. The other one takes face-offs almost every day, all the time, and is working with Manny. That's another individual who I was so lucky to get a chance to work with on a daily basis. An individual is highly regarded as Manny Milcher, one of the best individuals to ever play the game, one of the best centermen ever, still may have the highest percentage in wins in NHL history, but he's just a phenomenal human being, that entire staff and organization. But what it does, it creates a sense of not necessarily belonging, but that you can make it to those levels. You can actually achieve this level and not only survive, but thrive at that level, because it's all about access. And that's what I tell all my players, regardless of your background. It's all about making things tangible. Like, I had experienced the NHL. I had felt the NHL with stuff that I had done in the past with Arizona and Boston, and most recently with San Jose. But the ability to sit in those rooms, the ability to be able to hear the way coaches communicate with players when they're going well and when they're not going so well, like, those moments are huge. And it's the same thing that you see at youth hockey, a player that's struggling, they're in a scoring slump. How do you help get them out? A player that scored on their prior team when they were playing in the Swedish league, but now they can't score in the American League or the North American or the National League. Like, how do you get that scoring touch back? It's the same thing that you see at the youth levels. It's just at this level, it's obviously a bigger magnifying glass on it, but it was a phenomenal experience.
Is there, you mentioned a couple people there, but Fex and I are really big on mentorship and how important mentorship is. Was there anybody within the brass of the Leafs, that really helped you to kind of show the way? And what were some of the things that potentially they did to help you feel more comfortable, help you get your feet wet, help you really get, initiated into the NHL lifestyle and what it takes to be a successful coach at that level?
Well, I remember Carbs. I mean, we sat next to each other every day that I was with the Leafs. I'd say I was with them 65, 70% of the season. He sat right here during normal days, so on my left side when we're at practice. And then at Scotiabank, he's on my right side. Or sorry, he's on my left side, and then Manny's on my right side. So he's always like right next to me. And it's the daily, it wasn't even really what he said. It's just and I'm going to speak on Carbs. It's just what he did. No one ever beat him to the rink. I'm talking 3:30, 4 a.m. Carbs is there. I beat him one day. I got there roughly 4:45, 5 o'clock, and it was dark. And I was like, wait, am I the first person here? So I ran in real quick, got changed, sat down, like I'm there, been there for a while. He walks in and give him one of those and keep going.
Just a shit-eating grin on your face, like, hey, beat you, buddy.
But it's one of those things that he was just always trying to find what's not necessarily next, but what you're supposed to be, like how to get an edge. Is something that he always searched for. Manny, again, I have to speak to Manny. Like, I did a lot of video work, so prepping pre-scouts and all of that. But Manny was always, okay, let's look at this. Let's tell the picture this way. Really, how do you do a really good job for your team? Because it's not just about, this is their forecheck, this is their neutral zone, this is this. Paint the picture for the player. What do we need to know about how our strengths will help us win in this game? And what are some weaknesses that they have that we can exploit? And then what are their strengths that we need to be aware of? We don't need to know a full list of 12 things. This is every face-off they have. This is this. Yes, at the NHL level, you can put that out there. but they just need to know the hot spots. It's 82 games. It's a lot. Like, what do we need to focus on? How are we actually going to win this game? How does teams in the past, how have they scored against them? How have they beaten them? That's all we really need to know. But every coach is different. Every coach isn't like Manny. And then and Kyle, I mean, obviously Sheldon is who he is, but he's the head coach. He's so much to deal with. We talked almost every game day because we stayed at the rink most of the times. But after I left, Sheldon and I have spoken, and that's kind of like, wow, like he was really impressed with everything that I did in it. It's just get your job done. You did a great job, and then you move on to the next thing. But afterwards, I was really surprised to hear his praise. But then Kyle Dubas was another one. I can go on. Everybody that I met, our equipment staff, Bobby and everybody involved there, the medical staff, Paul and everybody involved there, Shani, like it's a world-class organization because there's world-class individuals working for it. Not just because it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, not just because they bring in as much money as they do, but because everybody there is phenomenal. And even after Kyle left and then Tree came in, like even meeting him was great. And you talk about Hards. Oh man, he is a special person. Ryan Hardy, for everybody that doesn't know who Hards is, but he is had some of the realest conversations with me about my career, taking care of your family, making sure that family is number one. I'll let you in on this one. Everybody knows hockey coaches don't take time off during the season ever doesn't happen. And my wife and I have been invited to a trip that just happened this past year in the fall in Lake Como. Some of our friends were throwing a big wedding anniversary, all expense paid. You just got to get there. And I was like, this chance of a life to go out, see a place I've never been. But then you look at the bottom of it and it says it's at the end of October. And you're like, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to make it because it's hockey season. And I brought this up to Hards, and he was like, Duante, whether you're here with the Leafs or you're somewhere else, you need to go on that trip because hockey is great, but you have to make sure that your family's taken care of. If we have to miss you for 4 or 5 days because you're out there experiencing life with your wife, somebody who has been with you before hockey and is going to be with you long after hockey's done in your life, then that's just something that people in hockey need to start being okay with. Like you have to start showing that hockey is bigger than just sport. You talk about community. Like if a team, this is an assistant GM of a National Hockey League team telling me this, that he supports me going on a trip with my wife in season. I was like, look, that's the man he's real. He's a real human being. He cares.
This is great, dude. Was he wearing diamond stud earrings when he was talking about this? Because I got some great blackmail pics of him from when he was younger, and every time he comes up, I just want to talk to him about his earrings.
He left those alone, but he still got the Apple fully connected, just like yours, the fully connected headphones in everywhere he goes because he's always working, always talking to somebody.
He is an amazing, amazing dude.
That's unreal, man. That's unreal. Well, hey, it's all about people, right? Like you want to be successful, care about people and don't just say it, but actually live it. And when you put time and effort into people, things tend to work out a little bit more frequently than if you don't. So, Duante, this has been great here today. We really, really appreciate your time, your experience and what you're doing. Before we end here, what do you got up your sleeve now? Like what's Duante Abercrombie up to and, what kind of fun things are you doing in the hockey world now?
Well, honestly, Rising Stars has been the focus this entire year, just making sure that program gets off the ground and really up and running in a way that I'm proud of. And I think that we have done a really, really good job of it, which has been phenomenal. And this was a year where I had, some offers with, youth hockey and juniors and some places like that. But just to be able to get back home, because when I went to Toronto last year, my family stayed here. They didn't come up with me because of all the travel that I knew that would be happening. So being able to get back home and reconnect with my wife and my 2 kids has just been really, really valuable. And whatever comes next, honestly, I'm excited for it. I will say that I've seen a lot of growth, and we talk about diversity. Like, I've seen a lot of growth ever since I started NCAA as one of the first Black coaches in NCAA. You have Kelsey that was hired. Lenny was hired. There's rumors floating around that he may become the first head coach in USHL hockey history. Like I said, we were in Nashville last year. They announced TSU is going to be first college. Like, to see things like this happening is just absolutely phenomenal. And I have to speak on this. Diversity helps the team and helps everybody grow. Like, the more opinions, the more experiences you have at the table, in the room, it helps everybody grow. Because when you're in your core group, when you're comfortable, that's when bad things can happen. That's when things can get said and they go unchecked. I would love to get to a point where if you're sitting around your fire and you're with your friends, since I always used to say when you were super young in diapers, and they tell a story that they're not supposed to tell, that you actually say something about it. You say, this is 2024. We don't do stuff like that anymore. But that's really hard. But I think if you have a group of teammates and you're sitting in a room and stuff gets said or stuff gets done, we don't do that. That's just not the way we roll. That's not the way we're going to be. But that doesn't happen unless you have people that feel differently than other people, that have other opinions. It just helps you grow. It helps the team grow. So to see so much diversity in the game, in all aspects, like check the box, like all the way through diversity, it's just phenomenal. Like, hockey is going to grow leaps and bounds. Watch it over the next 5-10 years. It's just going to be unreal.
Well, man, you're inspiring the next generation with everything that you've been able to do in the game, and yeah, totally agree, man. And the work that you're doing continually is going to be huge, because if you can see it, you can do it, right? We talk about it with women's hockey too. Like, if you can see somebody else that looks like you, comes from a similar background, do it. It gives you, a little bit more confidence going into those situations of, hey, Duante did this, I could probably do it too, and so the more we have of that, the better. And just thank you for all the work that you're doing in the game. I know your career is skyrocketing already, but it's going to continue to keep going, man, and keep doing a great job in this game. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I gotta throw this in just because of what you said. Brought this person up. Second dad to me, Graham Townsend. The year that I did the GoFundMe to go up to Twist, there was a tryout for Team Jamaica, and he was the coach. And we met that summer, and he was like, look, I'm not even going to donate to your GoFundMe. I could do that, but I'm actually going to teach you the business of hockey, because he runs a hockey school in Maine. And I've been helping him run that hockey school for a decade. Talk about making it tangible. Seeing an individual, Jamaican born, played in the NHL, coached in the NHL, and is running a very, very successful hockey school in the NHL is the reason why I'm sitting here, because I was able to see it, feel it, and believe that this is something that was attainable. So yes, absolutely. When you say you got to make it tangible, 100%.
Love that, dude. Well, keep up the great work, and we're going to keep you for a couple more minutes here. The podcast is gone, but we're going to do a 10 questions with you. And for those that don't know about the 10 questions, so we do this in our Hockey Think Tank community. So our 10 questions with all of our guests that we have, we house it in our community. So if you want to hear more from Duante, go to community.thehockeythinktank.com and you can sign up for that. And we do a lot of fun stuff with it, but some of our favorites are these 10 questions. So ready to rock and roll?
Let's go.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.